There are four enemies to success. Those enemies are, you can see them, especially with like your business not working right, or whether it be in your personal life and things aren't working right. Whatever aspects of your life that you are lacking in these four areas, you really need to focus on. I'm going to be really honest in this video, you guys. You are leaving money on the table. If you're damaging your own success, your own value, your own results, you need to watch this video. There are so many key aspects that I see so many entrepreneurs, whether I'm working with them personally or see them on social media, is that they are literally taking themselves down to the grill because of the fact that they are having to put in all of this effort and they're not either seeing the results that they want. They're either like feeling like stuck, stagnant, or they're just not happy with the results that they're getting from their business. You need to watch this video and hopefully you'll take something from it, whereas though you can go and get your bag. The first thing is like being a perfectionist. Perfectionism literally ruins so much. It ruins it because it is literally procrastination wrapped up in like a really nice red dress with a bow on, a huge bow. And it looks so pretty and from the outside, whereas though, it has to be perfect. You spend all the time maybe putting in effort into, let's say, a video, and at the end of you editing and doing things, and then you post it finally on TikTok or whatever app you decide to put it on, a website, it flops. And then you're like, oh, look at it. But it's like the perfectionism that took, it delayed you uploading a video. Within that time, you could have done 3 videos. And then you're in this cycle of like perfectionism. And then it almost like constantly like continues. It continues because you are looking for things to be perfect, over the top, or your efforts don't feel like they're adequate. Whereas though you're constantly looking for help with that perfectionism. And how do you get away from being ultra perfection, the ultra perfectionism that comes along with, whether it be content creation? How do you get away from the over perfectionism from content creation or just anything in general? Is just choose to take the well done. And I'm not talking about being like super mediocre with things, but just understanding like there's nothing in life is going to be perfect. Whether it is like I see so many people like who are starting businesses and things like that, and then they work on the front end, they work on everything else, but then one area of that business, they're putting in so much effort of like trying to make things over the top, overly perfect, amazing, immaculate looking, where it's like so polished. And it's like nowadays people really aren't even looking for polish anymore. Look at TikTok, for example, whereas though a person's just like, posting, going about their regular day, they're posting their upload video that's not even edited. And then like that, it'll go viral. It'll go viral because people are like looking for authenticity nowadays in search of community too. But we can go into that one on another video. Another enemy of success is definitely going to be the act of comparison. And it's also like, this is literally like for Gen Z, people who are like starting out. Doesn't matter what any age you are, you can apply this. But specifically Gen Z, like I see us like we grew up on social media, on Instagram, on all of these platforms, and it's like comparison is so prevalent. I feel like more than now than ever, where it's like we're, instead of like looking at your own gifts and your own abilities, your own calling, you're looking at what someone else is doing. And you like, I'm gonna be real with you guys, like sipping tea, being real, like scrolling on TikTok will definitely leave you feeling behind. And it can really like have an effect on people because you're feeling behind because this person is like almost like triggering you. And one of the best ways that I personally combat that is like I'll quickly unfollow a person where I'm feeling like triggered, or if I don't like what they're posting. So protecting your peace from unfollowing someone, or even using somebody said like, I was watching a video, they were talking about how the block button is so underused. Like I believe heavily in having, like, if your block list needs to be 400 people, block them. because at the end of the day, there's only one piece that you have, and that's a piece that you give yourself and that you are invested in. So think of your piece as an investment, okay, honey? That's like your biggest investment. And so I really do recommend, overly recommend, to unfollow and block people who impede on your inspiration, or like impede on like your piece that you're like generating for yourself or for what you want, and then refollow or follow people who are on the flip side inspiring you, who are like doing amazing things. Personally, recently I have followed this woman named Jance. I actually followed her back in like, I don't even know when I found her. I think like the latter part of 2024. Well, I went on this whole thing, and she's a business coach, and she also deals with things like for people who are also in e-commerce. If you guys don't know, I have my own wellness business. I've been in the e-commerce space since 2018, and just like learning and seeing my journey down a road of like building and working for building my own businesses, and then also turning around and working for like, you know, businesses generating millions of like billions of dollars. It's kind of like, whoa. Whereas though I'm able to just see like my own progression. Anyways, back to it. She is someone who I personally follow because it's like this person is also putting in the work. They also have the background of building her own boutique to $1 million, having successful coaching business. You want to surround yourself with people who are, even on your For You page, who are going in the same direction that you want to be going in, without feeling like you need to compare yourself to them. Because simply the fact is, like, I don't care what anyone says, like, I believe in abundance. I believe that the fact that you can see somebody else doing it who's from a similar background, maybe their background's totally different than yours, seeing them being able to do it no matter what they look like, of course, is like one of the biggest ways of getting that for yourself. Believe it or not, I really do believe that. Whether it be like, let's say that you join a group and everybody's like a big cohort group and everybody's getting jobs and they're starting their careers, that's going to make you want to start a career for yourself, a real career where so you're doing things that make a difference in your lives. Yes, I had to go and get the tea mug because I have to sip to that one. Tea is hot. Y'all, you know we drinking tea on this channel. I would not be a wellness girly if I didn't. This is my matcha latte. I cannot get away from matcha lattes. We're not going to talk about my matcha, how much matcha I consume on a weekly basis, but it's so good, guys. We talked about perfectionism, comparing yourself to others, and like why that's so bad. Let's jump in and talk about the real one, which is hustle culture. Hustle culture and hustling, it could be like an addiction, honestly. And a lot of people don't realize that. Whether they're starting a business, they're wanting to do well in school academically, you can get addicted to literally hustling. And in my last video, I talked about kind of like how, you know, you make all of these goals for yourself, and if you're a person like me, you're going to work on those goals, work towards them, and probably go above and beyond. But you can kind of get lost in the work too. But with hustle culture, it's kind of like this culture where it's non-stop work, and it's like, yeah, do more effort, but you know, not really taking into account, like, you know, no matter who you are, you know, rest is also just as important as the hustle. And almost like protecting, like, the fact that, like, yes, you have systems in place, but protect your nervous system. You want to protect those business systems, you're gonna have to also protect your nervous system, because that's one of the realest things about like overworking yourself, and it can actually lead you to having like really bad health issues if you don't decide to take and put yourself first. For the fact that, like, I see so many entrepreneurs, so many millionaires who, you know, just work. They got bags underneath their eyes. At the end of the day, they probably get like 3-4 hours of sleep, you know, napping during the day. And it's just like, okay, it's great to have grinding moments like that, and I'm like totally not against like the hustle and things like that, but dang, can we just have like a spa day? Even if it's just like I said, just having like something like a cup of tea for the day. Girl, this honestly makes a big difference. And I've also put like herbs in this. Like, you can't see it, but it's like powdered herbs in my herbal teas too. Yes, guys, do not be ashamed to take rest and to almost steer away from hustle culture. I actually made a video about hustle culture I think a few videos back where so like I was talking about like, that fatigue and that burnout is super real. And as someone who's also like dealt with burnout, is like technically recovering from burnout, having a regulated nervous system, it's like super important to getting your work done, and it actually makes you more productive to having like, okay, this is my time to rest. During the daytime you go go go. You can have a nice workout or a nice workout session, maybe even doing things like other things to like manage that stress for yourself. Yeah, I really recommend that you slow down, because you actually wind up attracting more to yourself, attracting more opportunities. If you need to go ahead and like slow down and then wind up like doing less, you honestly wind up with more by doing less somehow, I've noticed. And to tie everything back into it, I would say that the fourth enemy, let those enemies go. Okay, let them go. The fourth enemy to success is avoidance and overthinking. So, overthinking is like one of the worst things. And I say that because it doesn't take you into the present moment. Overthinking is not like, overthinking is one of those things where as though it takes you out of the present moment. And it either takes you to thinking about the past, or it takes you into thinking more overly about your future, which hasn't necessarily happened for you yet. So when you're constantly like overthinking about things, it's almost like not necessarily procrastination or perfectionism. It's just like in this middle ground of like being in between the action. Overthinking is a lack of action technically, because you're taking into account like every little thing. And it also kind of does tie into perfectionism for people out there who are like, sometimes you're more than likely dealing with both perfectionism and the overthinking aspect of things. One of the things that has helped me personally is just like taking actions to do things, and then also understanding like some people are more about strategy than execution, but you need to understand and to cultivate both of those things. And as people who are, neurodivergent, or people who, think differently. A lot of my viewers have autism, have ADHD, are also like really great professionals. They're also really great coaches, creators. There are so many people out there who are flourishing with whatever it is that they're dealing with, what society says. But you have to also look at the situation and how your mind works from a different lens, because no shoe can also fit every single thing. So if you're trying to put on Cinderella's tiara, or if you're trying to put in, so and so's method, like a Harmony method, or the David Goggins method, or this, that, and the third, without developing your own, it almost does like a disservice to yourself. And you don't need to avoid your own power, energy, and money because of the fact that you're like constantly overthinking about things. You need to practice instead gentle practices. I really recommend reading. Reading is like one of the biggest things for me personally. If I'm overthinking something, reading, movement, of course, and then, plans to stay consistent without feeling so overwhelmed by things. And a lot of my being able to have that, my community that understands like, hey, I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm also going through the same thing. And it's also like coming up as a block for me right now. And it's like, wow, that's so powerful. Whereas though you're able to do that, to see like, hey, I can totally be wealthy. I just need to put in the time in order to work on the mindset aspect of things, along with my own brand. And sometimes your mindset is your brand. It really is your brand. So if you take anything from this video, it's like that. It's like taking into account that, dang, that success, it's not out of reach. It's not far away. I'm probably right there. I just need to, keep going with what I'm going, but overcoming that perfectionism, overcoming that lack mindset of like, oh, things may not work out, or over comparison, that perfectionism, and that addiction that we kind of have to hustle culture. And seeing that, okay, the overthinking that I've been doing doesn't really serve me. that puts you in a much, much better position than so many people who just choose not to do the work. So I applaud all of you who are watching this, who putting in, doing the work, doing the thing, and definitely follow me for more videos like this, and also check out my offerings I'm having. Go out, but at the end having a launch for my new ebook, and I'm so excited to like share it with all of you guys. So your guide to branding yourself, to putting yourself out there, to stop comparing yourself, you need to really like look into that book. It's going to be coming out, but I'm going to be linking it in the description below, either on this video or the next one. Make sure you're checking out all of my offerings and really getting yourself in. Comment also what's blocking you right now. What has been like your biggest enemy? Share it. This is what the community is about. This is what this channel is about. And hopefully you'll get signs that, seeing the blockages to your success cleared very soon. And yeah, I wish you all well on your journeys, and all in the next one. Bye.